All right, everyone. So the Gears of War Reloaded beta is over, and I could not be more sad that it is. It is going to be a great game. It's kind of weird saying that because it's like, well, sure, Gears of War One was already it was the game that started the series, which had this bombshell trilogy that everybody knows and loves. And on a personal note, as I've said many times, was in many ways my childhood. I mean, Gears of War Two, that online game it took hours and hours and hours and hours of my life and regret none of it because it was that great. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with the beta. We mentioned our one concern that we did have, and I'll get that off the bat right now, which the one concern I have is the quitting in the competitive matches, right? It's not a big deal in like team deathmatch because people can join as they go, all of that stuff. But in the competitive matches, specifically King of the Hill, I had multiple games where I was on the team that was dominating the other team, and then you had people quit out. And I also had the reverse where I was getting dominated. I had won, and we'll actually find a time to put that video up at some point, um, where it's me against four, because everybody quit, and I just think it really ruins the game, right? Because I shouldn't be in a situation where every few matches I'm either the one that's by myself or we're playing against somebody that only has two guys left. And it's a little bit different in execution just because I think execution you can kind of punch above your weight a little bit more because it's kills. And so once you take one out, now it's a 2-on-3. Let's say there's two left, and then you take another one out. Now it's 2-on-2. King of the Hill, everybody's respawning over and over again. So you're constantly fighting 4-on-2. You're constantly fighting 4-on-2. That's the one thing they have to fix. And I don't know what the solution is. It's one of those things that I hate doing, which is kind of being critical of something without actually having a solution to it. You could do it through dinging them XP or whatever. But I think it has to be a scale of you have to differentiate between somebody who, you know, quit one time and somebody who's a serial, quitter during these matches. And I guess a lot of them do it for KD or they're just frustrated. And I understand that, but there has to be something done unless you just decide to allow people to join mid match to fix that. I do believe that should be the case. But that's the only downside I see so far with the Reloaded beta. I think the beta is was perfect. I loved how they listened to the community, and I will say they completely took me. They shocked me by not only extending the beta, which I thought they should have done the first time, but they did do it the second time. That was number one, extending the beta, and two, they added in execution. They really gave the fans exactly what they wanted, and that's about all you can ask for from a beta. Now, I definitely, and this was my concern with the first weekend. My first concern in the first weekend was this is so limited that people who, we're trying to get this game to be one of the biggest Gears, right? We're trying to have this be so big that people are playing it and going, oh my God, what's this Gears of War stuff? And then when the new game, E Day, comes out, now everybody's into that, right? To kind of pipeline it in. And I thought the first weekend was so limited because it was just a few maps in team deathmatch. The second weekend was the complete opposite. Okay, we had three modes. We had, it wasn't an expansive amount of maps. It was, only a few added, but they were good. And I had a lot of fun with them. So I think it was a good start that anybody playing that is going to be like, I can't wait to officially be able to play this thing fully. The other thing is we got to give them credit. The servers were beautiful. And I always preface it by saying, for me, okay? Because I understand maybe there's people that did have problems with the servers, and I don't want to pretend that, I'm speaking for everybody. I don't think I had one real server issue. I maybe had two games out of the whole 3 days that maybe lost connection to host or, something like that. That's it. I mean, it was really, really a good experience other than that. So, I think the second weekend of the beta really delivered in a way that, we were hoping the first one did, and I was excited after the first one because I had a great time, but that first day, they didn't extend the beta. It was like, "Oh, okay, it's great," but, I mean, that first day really was almost impossible to really consistently play. That did not occur in the second weekend. So now the question becomes, and I think they should do it, do you get more beta, right? Should we get more of these betas? And I would say yes. I've been saying, look, July's coming up here. You put maybe another 2 weekends in July, and you don't have to do them back to back weekends. Maybe you have one in early July, one in late July, or you do one mid-July, and then you do one in August, right, early August before, obviously the release in late August. But I'm also not a game developer, so maybe they're like, no, we can't do that because we take so many resources away from actually making the game that if we do that now, it's going to set us back. So if that's the case, then don't do it. But if you could manage both, I think the more beta weekends you could fit in here, the better, because it's just about building hype. It's just about getting us to that point. And I'm a little scared that we have from June now all the way until late August. So we're going to have a whole month of no Gears of War. Nobody's playing it. And I just hope it doesn't kind of fly under the radar. Now, obviously, release day may spark a big, resurgence, but I think the nerve wracking thing is that, so I don't mind the fact that you got to pre order it to get to the beta. But my concern is that, especially if someone is on PlayStation and has never played it before, my concern is that if they come to it on a launch instead of having played the beta and the servers aren't great, because you could just write it down now, okay? The launch day servers are not going to be great. We're going to see problems. It happens with almost every game. And I remember back to Gears of War 2 when there were server problems. So my guess is, I don't know how long those are going to be, but my guess is there's going to be at least limited server problems. And one way you can overcome that is, number one, making sure that that's as short of a time as possible, right? That's key. But number two, the more beta weekends I think you have, and even if you add in another map or you add in this, you add in that, the more beta weekends you have, the more people that are playing for the first time are going to start falling in love with the game. Meaning, if you've given people, okay, we gave them 4 beta weekends, let's say, and they're really now kind of like, "Oh my god, I cannot wait for the release of this game," and the servers are bumpy to start for the first hour, they're gonna be like, "Okay, the servers are bumpy, I'm not happy about it, but I'm gonna make sure that I get into this and wait because I wanna play the game." If you give people these 2 beta weekends and they kind of forget about it for all of July, and then August comes and it's finally released in late August, and then what we get is somebody basically saying, "Oh man, the servers are down. Well, I'm just going to forget about this game." That's how you really kill the player base right off the bat, right? Make them, like, right now, the way I feel about Gears of War Reloaded is I'm upset that I can't continue to play it. I'm a little bit happy because I basically was like, all right, both these beta weekends, you feel like you're almost in a like, you're in like a bubble because everything is about making sure I play enough of the Gears of War beta. The last weekend, all my weekend was playing the Gears of War War Reloaded beta. The weekend prior, my whole weekend was about playing the Gears of War Reloaded beta. So it's kind of like, okay, cool, I'm back to the real world now. But it was great, and I want to continue to play it, and I can't wait to actually play it where it's like, okay, I don't have to put in the entirety of these days to play it, right? I can actually just play it, okay, an hour here, 2 hours here, and have fun with it, and have all the maps and all the modes, and to see what else we get. But overall, I think the beta delivered. They just have to make sure that they deliver this right, because I really think, from what I've been watching, from what I've been hearing, you guys commenting, there's a lot of hype right now around not just this game being good. Everybody knows this game's going to be good. We've already played this game. We know it's going to be good, right? It's not just this game being good. It's about making sure that this game can hit that, kind of strike a nerve and get people to get to E-Day and really have that resurgence starting from E-Day. Because think about it. Think about the lineup we have here. We have a remake of Gears of War Reloaded that can bring us into Gears of War E-Day, but then we have Gears of War 2 that can also be remade, right? You can remake that as we await the next one. And then after Gears of War 2, you bring us this next Gears, and then you remake Gears of War 3. And so it kind of breaks up this cycle, and it gives them time to work on making sure that the next Gears release is where it needs to be, and it's the game that we want. And so I can't wait. Great job on the beta, guys. It was a lot of fun. I'm depressed I can't be playing it right now because, once again, unlike a lot of the games nowadays that have 35 battle passes and their live service and they're constantly adding stuff in, Gears of War, look, you play and you rank up, and that's the bottom line. And you unlock some stuff along the way, right? You unlock some things, and that's all well and good. But this is a game that is just addicting on its own. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.